So it's the 1st of August, and we all know that the 1st of the month is rent collection day.
Yes.
But also it's a big day for you personally, because you and your partner have bought into a business called RentMaster. It's a rental guarantee business. You're the CEO. I must ask, who buys a rental guarantee business in the middle of a lockdown?
So my partner and I really saw it as a great opportunity, and we've launched ourselves into making sure that we continue bringing value to our clients. But with the right processes, the right data, and the right partners with us, it's really, Michelle, it's not that scary.
Okay, so let's talk about data.
Okay,
if I may. What I've got is I've got the RentMaster portfolio up on the screen.
Sure.
And I want to showcase to the TPN community how you access your online monitoring. On the 1st of every month, what TPN does is we re-credit check every tenant in your portfolio where you've done a credit check on them, a rent check up front. And for the next 12 months, we re-credit check the tenant. And that way we can show the risk of the portfolio as it is changing. So how do you access your online monitoring? You log into TPN, you pop in your username and password, and on the dashboard, you click View Your Monitoring Report. And this takes us to the monitoring system.
Yes.
This is the RentMaster live system.
Yes.
But what we've done is we've applied a little blur to the personal information, so we protect it from sharing any personal identities of any of your clients.
So we're safe.
We're safe in terms of popping.
Good, thank you.
So what I can see is that 96% of your tenants are actively being monitored, and we can tell you what their score looks like as of the 1st of August.
Exactly.
And if I click on the monitoring and I scroll down to the bottom, I can see that the score for RentMaster is 79%. In other words, 79% of the RentMaster portfolio is an A, a B, or a C quality tenant as of the 1st of August.
Yes.
And how does that relate to your peers? I can see that coming into lockdown, the RentMaster score was sitting at 81% of tenants in good standing, of tenants that were quality tenants, A, Bs, or Cs. And the score for the industry was 67. And through the lockdown period, the industry has deteriorated to 65%. And again, for August, the current score of the industry is 65%. And for RentMaster, it's sitting at 79%.
That's exactly right, Michelle. The lockdown and COVID has been particularly harsh on the rental property market. And the struggle and landlords and agents needing to keep afloat is very real. Landlords and agents are really in a bind. As much as we agree that people need roofs over their heads, landlords and agents have financial commitments. They have to meet their financial obligations. And in the case of an agent, that is their income. But what we have is data on our side. And with that, we listen to the data and we determine an action and a strategy to go about making sure that we have effective actions in place.
Because I just want to confirm, RentMaster's business is about making sure that the landlord is cash flowed from the 1st of the month. In other words, RentMaster collects the rent on the 1st from the tenant via debit order and pays the landlord on the 1st of the month. It's RentMaster then, if that debit order RDs or is rejected, you're out. It's your cash flow that you're out of pocket. The landlord has been paid, and importantly, the estate agent has been paid their commission on the 1st of the month.
That's exactly right. What we do is we provide that value of that risk management component in your lease tenure. So a landlord or an agent really asks us to do that collection from the tenant. They go on with their lives, with paying their commitments, making sure that they're in a cash flow positive position. And RentMaster does what it knows best. It has an effective collection strategy to go about recouping and making sure the tenants fulfill their obligations as they contracted to do so.
So can we have a look at your collections?
Please go ahead.
I'm going to scroll back up to the top. I'm hopping onto the collections on the menu option. I can see that 73 of your tenants are still in arrears.
And getting better. With our collection strategy, that will come down.
So if we have a look at your 73 tenants that are still in arrears, what we can do in your collection strategy is we can go and filter then by the low risk tenants, low and average risk tenants. And this strategy, I presume, is a different strategy that you would implement to your high risk tenants. And I can see they're low risk because each one of these has a little low risk marking next to them. I can see that some are partial paid and some are did not pay, and what the value is that's outstanding. And I can see those that you've sent letters of demand to through using TPN.
Yes.
But let's look at your priorities. Your priorities would be your tenants that are high risk.
Yes.
And not paid or partially paid.
Yes.
And I'm looking at, I mean, these are high risk tenants.
Yes.
Very high risk tenants.
Yes.
And this one owes 53,000 rand.
Well, I know this particular case because what we do is we stay very close to the data.
Can I look at it?
Please go ahead. We listen to the data. We say, what is it telling us? Right now, circumstances have asked us to be very dynamic. What we need to do is we need to understand how people are able to pay. At the outset of COVID, what we've got is a reflection of the quality of our book going in.
So I can see the quality of this tenant going in. This tenant you took on in November 2019, not very long ago.
Yes.
It was an excellent quality tenant
Yes.
on take on. And if I scroll down, I can see that this particular tenant was paying on time and in full every single month, just before lockdown.
Exactly.
And in May, partial payments, and in June and July, they didn't pay. And marrying that up to their risk, in June, they were still a low-risk tenant. So clearly something happened during lockdown that resulted in this tenant moving from a low risk to a very high-risk tenant.
Well, it's about the quality of income and the source of income. Knowing that right at the outset and understanding how they're going to be affected in both the industries that they work during this lockdown period meant that we needed to listen to the clients and we needed to listen to the tenants. We needed to start that engagement proactively in order to understand how they were going to be hit. In this particular case, we have engaged with both parties. We know that the lease is coming to an end at the end of August, and this particular individual, with regards to their business, was particularly hard hit, and they are vacating the property. Strategies were employed, conversations were had.
Because RentMaster, not only do you pay the rent out and you cash flow on the first, regardless of whether the tenant is paid or not, you do that for a period of 3 months.
Yes.
But over and above that, you take on the legal process of ensuring that you get the tenant out of the property, the eviction process.
Yes, soft collections are extremely important, obviously, with regards to the level of risk. So our first outset is to say, what do we have in place? We have a look at a whole system of management. Right at the outset, we need to understand how we're contracting and how we're vetting. To your point, have we done certain rent checks? Are we doing certain risk mitigation during the duration of it, which is about the payment profile that we see over there? Paid on time, partially paid, the indicators of risk. And ultimately, with our collection strategy, we need to understand how we soft collected, having the support of the risk management measures that we've taken and the contracts that we've got in place.
Okay, and what I want to do is I just want to showcase in ending that the rent check inquiry is important up front.
Very much so.
And equally important is then monitoring your tenant every single month to see how that risk is changing. And in order to do that, we're going to do it for 12 months. So TPN is going to do it. Rent check is month 1, and for the next 12 months, we're going to re-credit check at no additional cost for the estate agent or landlord.
Yes.
And come month 13, in this inactive monitoring, we can see that there are 7 tenants that are due to be activated. And it's as simple as clicking on the activate monitoring button. I can see some of them have already been done and are in waiting process.
Yes.
And so if you click on the activate monitoring, at a cost of 35 Rand or 2.92 Rand per month, TPN will redo the rent check inquiry. And then for the next 12 months, re-credit check the tenant to ensure that you continue to get the updated score on each one of the tenants.
Well, this is exactly right, Michelle. When you've got a tenant that you need to engage with that's owing up to 50,000, we need to ensure that we're monitoring and we're acting proactively. And when you look at 50,000 versus 2 Rand, that seems like a no-brainer solution, to be quite honest.
Shanaaz, we wish you all the best as your new role of CEO of RentMaster, and every success in the future.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and thanks for having me.